Stoke City, a team with a proud history but currently sitting 14th in the Championship. The last time they graced the Premier League was way back in 2008, but today we're not just bringing them back to the top flight. Oh no, we're aiming for something much bigger. The goal, to make history by winning Stoke their first ever Premier League title. But to pull this off, Stoke needs a miracle. That's why today I'm giving them two perfect owners. Owners who will wipe out the club's debts and hand us some kind transfer budgets most managers will only ever dream of. We've got 5 seasons max to turn Stoke into champions. Let's get started. So this has been requested quite a fair bit, a little rebuild with Stoke City, so I thought, do you know what? Let's actually make it happen. Now, I will say, we have obviously got these immaculate owners today, and to do that, all I have done is go over and edit the club details, gone over to this right now, gone to the finances, cleared all of their debts, and obviously added in a front-end rich benefactor, which obviously is going to make a lot of the difference. Now, this team in the game at the moment have got a 3-star reputation, very good training facilities, to be fair. The youth facilities also aren't too bad, but the youth recruitment is not that good, so hopefully we can look to improve that. The owners, they already love the club, so hopefully, now they love the club and they've got loads of money, they put some of the money back into the club, because I want to bring in some pretty big names. You know, Stoke was once a historical team in the Premier League, 10-year span, I believe, and to not have them there for multiple years, it's a little bit heartbreaking. But going over to this, you can see they have never won a Premier League title, something we are going to aim to change today. They have won 2 Sky Bet Championships and 1 massive Carabao Cup, so that's not really the main focus. The main focus is that Premier League, but of course, we're not even in the Premier League, we are in the Championship, and if you actually go and look, we are predicted to finish in 3rd place, so realistically, I will say, I'm going to aim to get for the playoffs in this first season, and to do that, we've got to be smart. I've gone with what you think of when you think of Stoke, a 4-4-2, old school, but it's quite aggressive. We've got 2 advanced forwards, we've got good wingers who are going to be getting forwards and also running wide. Our wing-backs, however, are not going to be aiming to get forwards at all. They're going to be nice and resilient and simply defend. The midfield, however, very, very good. Box-to-box will be attacking and a deep-line playmaker. Now, what I will say is, I don't know too much about Stoke in terms of their players, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend, because it would be a lie. The only player I do know is going to be Tom Cannon from his time, obviously, at these other clubs. Now, to be honest with you, he looks pretty good in the game, and maybe even for a year he can play in the Premier League if we get there. But I mean, looking at this team, there are, based off the ability, at the back we're absolutely awful. Going forwards, we look to be somewhat okay, so I'm hoping the goals can sort of outclass the poor defensive display, and we will naturally work our way up. Now, if you are playing back home, you would have had a budget of £0 anyway, so you wouldn't be getting too far, but of course, we never sign people in that first window anyway. So let's get into the first season. As always, do drop a like on the video, and if you like this rebuild and the tactic that comes with it, you can get all of them on the Patreon in the link below, where not only will you get this one, you'll get all of the ones from the entire year by signing up. So make sure you go on over and get involved. But let's get into season 1, and yeah, we'll aim for the playoffs. So I've surprised myself, to be honest, because we actually have been promoted in the first season. I will say it is definitely not flawless, and it was done purely on goal difference. As you can see, Sheffield Wednesday matched us on points. The top 3, there was literally a 1-point difference. All very similar goal difference as well, and we drew 10 games and also lost 10 games. Did we get battered at all? I mean, a 5-2 there against QPR away, but I mean, we look at the players right now, and a player who we didn't even talk about is, of course, going to be Sam Gallagher, who appears to have absolutely lit up the Sky Bet Championship, scoring 34 goals, which is really impressive. Cannon with 24 as well, and again, our players in the assists absolutely taken over, so a very, very strong season. I imagine outscored everyone. We also outscored everyone. Now, in terms of the rest of the cups, it wasn't too, you know, I wasn't expecting much, but this is the only one that hurts a little bit, because we can obviously beat them in the Championship. I think we could have got past them in the Cup as well. But realistically, the main aim was, of course, to try and get back to the Premier League, and we've already done that in Season 1, so we can tick off one of the objectives of the video already. But the next one is obviously going to be a lot harder. It is to win that Premier League title. And to win a Premier League title, it's not just money that you need, but it does play a factor. So let's go and actually see how much we've got. We've got 64 million, which actually we've got a lot more than 64. We've got 126 million. So that's where the owners are going to come in. The original budget was 129 million. Now, going over to the squad and sort of looking at the contracts, we obviously have 3 players here on loan, which we might look to make permanent, especially Tom Cannon. But is he actually going to be the player I want for the Premier League? That I'm not too sure of. The contracts, we can see a load of players. We have to worry up until 2025, which would see us all the way down here, so I've got to go through and analyse all of these players, obviously apart from the top 3 who aren't permanent, and really see, are they Premier League quality? Because this is going to be a big rebuild job, guys. A lot of these players are going to be leaving and replaced with better quality, sort of upper standard players, but I'm not going to slate the lads at all, because if we look at what they've done, goal scoring wise, we're filtered by the best 11. We can go and understand. I mean, Sam Gallagher, 36 goals, 25 for Cannon. We've got 14 coming in there for Berger in that box-to-box. The wing-backs, more to be fair, didn't really do too well in terms of the assists, but they are on defend, so I was about to be quite harsh on them there, but I realised I'm not even really getting the chance to go forward. So the assists, we've got Vigil, I believe how you say that, coming in there with 15, and also on the left-hand side, it's okay. I mean, it's actually quite good, 6 at 18. It's okay, but don't want to be a negative Nancy, but we are in the Championship, okay? When you take these players to the Premier League, are they really going to do it? And that's the big question I've got to ask. So, although Season 1 has been very, very positive, we've instantly got back to the Premier League, we've got a fat budget to play with, we're going to have 2 issues. The first issue is attracting the players if they want to come to a newly promoted Premier League team, and the second is that wage budget. Let's go and see what we can do. Right, we've had a lot of players leave on the free, and we have done a lot of business. The first bit of business is going to be bringing in a right-back who most likely will get right into the team, and we are going to make the right-back a lot more attacking, because this guy is absolutely quality going forward. That is going to be Van Ewick, coming in from Coventry. So again, signing from quite low down for 16 million. He come in and played almost every game. Didn't pick up loads of assists, but dropped a decent average rating, especially considering he's in a favoured relegation team. It's a good start. We are also going to pick up Anthony Alanga, coming in from Nottingham Forest, and of course the previous Manchester United man. He comes in and he does okay. Now, I'm going to be realistic, okay, because these players aren't going to score 30 goals a season in this team. So to pick up 5 and 7, I will take it for a first season, and 26 million, I would say here, and I still would say it after the season is had, he is a very well-rounded player, and he still is only 24. The next 2 signings on the free, the first one is going to be Luke Thomas. Now, in terms of left-backs and in terms of freebies, you're not going to get much better. I mean, he comes in on the free here from QPR and of course previously from Leicester. Very similar to the previous signing at wing-back. 1 goal, 6 assists, drops a solid average rating as well. Considering he is on the free and also not on a ton of money per week, I think that's a great signing. I was going to pick up another previous Manchester United man. That is going to be Axel Tuanzebe. He comes in from Ipswich on the free, of course, went there on the free as well. He didn't play that many games, and that tells me he obviously wasn't playing that well, because he could have, even if he developed a little bit and got into some form, he would have locked his way into the team. So that signing may not have paid out, but we could cash in if we want to. Next up, might have been a bit of a gamble because I've never signed him, but it is going to be Benny Traore coming in from Basel. He comes in, and this is what I like. He delivers 20 goals, 8 assists, drops above a 7 in his first Premier League season ever in his career. Now that is a performance. A guy who is never really, set light to the Premier League necessarily. He had a time at United, time at Fulham, and obviously at Leeds as well. And I will say, he has come in and he has done quite well, to be fair. 9 goals, 8 assists. I don't hate it. And you know what? He might not be the most well-known winger, the most looked-after, sort of sought-after winger, but he can do a job. He can play on the left and on the right. And for a newly promoted Premier League team, you're not going to find much better. He offers pace, a good ball in the box. The only thing that he's bad at, really, is that finishing. But as long as he gets assists, I'll take it. The player who is sought after is going to be Carlos Baleba, coming in from Brighton, and very surprised I even managed to get him, to be honest. We did pay through the roof, 42 million, but he comes in and it's just consistency. 6.88 on that average rating. And if you look at him as a player, he is so well-rounded. You're not really going to find much better in terms of a player that wants to join a newly promoted team as well. And he was actually very keen, so it's always a good sign. So looking at these players, we have brought in 5 on this page. We have brought on 2 on this page. We have strengthened above and beyond, and I think we've done enough. Looking actually in depth at these players, I think this is enough to stay up. Time's going to tell. Well, I've actually looked at the calendar first, and I wanted to pick out this game because our first season in the Premier League, we're going to go 1-0 up against Man City. This is not a cup, by the way, just a Premier League game, but I'm shocked at what I'm seeing because we're 2-0 up against Man City, and they get a consolation, they get one, but I will say, Season 1, we're already beating Man City. But that didn't mean we're going to win it, because we do end up in 14th place, but the fact we're beating some of these big teams, and the striker that I said was a gamble is the Premier League top goal scorer, we have clearly made at least one good signing, and to be honest, 14th is actually quite good. We are still 45 points in the bottom three with 31, so we are actually quite clear of the drop as well. And a lot of the games, apart from a 4-1 loss there to Villa and against Brentford, against the big boys, they're not even really humiliating defeat. So I do think we've come into this league and actually sort of taken it by storm almost. Now, the rest of the competitions, I will say, again, the FA Cup, Liverpool, it happens. This one I don't like, because as you can see here, we are going to go out against Huddersfield 2-1, and that is a real kick in the teeth. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with staying up in the Prem, and I imagine we've got a tidy budget to play with, but we will go and see what the players done first in terms of their actual rating, their assists, etc, etc. So we can see here, the wing-backs were not on defend anymore. They are allowed to go up and push up, and they still didn't really offer much in terms of assists, but Alanga did. 10 assists overall, Ben Pearson with 7, 6 and 3 from Baleba. It's an okay entry season. 9 and 9 from Dan James. I don't hate it. I don't love it. 24 and 10 coming in for Traore, which is absolutely incredible. And then you go down to the bench, you've got Sam Gallagher, 8 and 4. We've got Niall coming in there with 9 and 4 as well. The only thing which I'm going to say, and it's still quite obvious, is you look at the team. He's not a Premier League player. He's not a Premier League player. Pearson isn't. He definitely isn't, and a lot of the players on the bench also aren't, so we still need that money injected into the club to really go out and actually bring positive influence in. Now, looking at the money, we have got a total of 58 million, so under half what we had sort of last season. Now, I'm not going to complain because it's still a lot of money to go and play with, but when you look at the team again, I'll let you have another look, there is a lot of room for improvement, so I'm going to try and be smart and bring in multiple players opposed to one star man, and the bad thing about rebuilding a team like Stoke is, even with the players that are on short contracts, if you look at their values, you're not going to exactly bring home like 50, 100 million for a player. Like, you go to some teams like United and you got the Deadwood players, they're worth 30, 40 million. At Stoke, they're worth about 2. So let's get into the next window after staying up in the Premier League. So drop a like for that, because I think it's pretty impressive. Let's go and see what Season 3 brings. So first up, we are going to actually sign a Premier League quality goalkeeper. That is going to be the future Liverpool man. He is going to come in, and I tell you what, 36 million I will spend it any single day, because it is absolutely worth your money. He has played quite well as well, dropped to 6.94, and he is still only 26. And just look at him. He is so well built already, and one of the most important positions on a pitch, in a rebuild especially, is the goalkeeper. A lot of people forget about it, but I like to invest big in a solid goalkeeper. With Stoke City, we're going to concede shots. Hopefully we've got a good shot stopper, which is why I've somehow pulled this off. We have got Frank Kessie coming in again on the free, so nothing spent, and this player will help seal up that back line, but also go forward and create, as he scores 9 and assists 6. Now, this guy is by far, do you know what, probably the biggest player in this team in terms of name and a brand, but he's taken the pay cut, 89 grand a week, and I know he's 30, but that experience he brings, you can't question it. And another free signing is going to be Parfait Gugan, I believe that's how you say that. I'm probably butchering that to the absolute world and back. He comes in on the free, and again, he's exceptional. 16 and 4, drops a 7 match rating, incredibly versatile, and once again, quite low on the wages, and 26. We're making some really good free signings, and I wasn't expecting to do a lot of that today, and he's developed really well. Multiple things about this guy I just really like, to be honest. So first of all, his performance was pretty average, but I'm going to work with him because we've spent a total of 36 million, and I don't want him to flop, but I like him. He's quick, his tackling's good, he's got good positioning, good work rate, good stamina, good strength, he's versatile, he is 25, but there's still a player in there, and now I've spent the money, it's got to work, and he was the last signing, so that is going to be 4 signings this window. We are going to lose this guy here, who, to be honest, isn't the end of the world, and also we are going to lose Edwin, who actually looks fairly decent but not Premier League level. So with these 4 signings, we've got a brand new goalkeeper, a world-class midfielder, a very good midfielder, and a bit of a flop of a defender, but we'll focus on the positives. I'm hoping we can at least finish in the top 10. Oh, that might be an ask. Let's go and find out. First up, a Carabao Cup final. That is right, a Carabao Cup final against Leeds as well, so a chance of winning, and we are going to go 1-0 up, and I will say Leeds do bounce back, and it's a fairly well put together goal. Going through the middle, exploiting the back line is pretty well worked, to be honest, and they do actually go through again and make it 2-1 inside of that 70th minute, and at this point, I was nervous, but apparently Alanga just runs through the entire team, eventually finds Traore to make it 2-2, and this is where the game got good, because about 3 minutes after, Kessie is going to play in the left-back, into the middle, to make it 3-2 to us, but we bottle it in the 81st minute, and as you can see, it's a good give and go and a good ball in, and this game now goes all the way to penalties. Perot is going to step, a great penalty, Kessie's going to step, a great penalty into the bottom left. Aronson, a very good penalty into the bottom right. Gallagher, cracking penalty into the top left. Nonto steps, great penalty. Alanga steps, great penalty as well. These penalties so far have been absolutely flawless. Pearson, great as well. And I tell you what, at this point, we could have been here all day, but we signed the best goalkeeper. And that is the difference sometimes between signing an okay keeper and a keeper that is going to stand out and win you trophies, as he has literally just done. So that is trophy number 1. Unfortunately, quarterfinals of the FA Cup, it is what it is, but the league, a 9th place finish. Now, we're actually, of course, qualified for the Conference League as well, which is a real big bonus, and at the end of the day, we're in the top 10. That's what I wanted, you know. We've sealed out a few more of them draws, turned them into wins. We still have a fair few losses. 12 losses. Are there any batterings in there? 5-3 against Villa, 4-3. Not really batterings, as we scored in the goals in the games that we conceded a lot of goals in. So it still is a very, very good sort of season overall. And we've also brought home silverware. So I don't think any Stoke City fan's going to be complaining. Now, of course, going to the tactics page is where we really want to look and see what players done exactly what. And filtered by the best 11, we can actually now see that, for example, Luke Thomas is really coming into his own. 10 assists in the Premier League. I love to see that. We've got 17 and 21 for Alanga. 2 and 9 for Baleba. I would expect maybe a little bit more, but again, the 9 assists from DLP is acceptable. Kesse, 12 and 7. 12 and 14 for Dan James, an improvement on last year. 24 and 9 for Traore. And Parfait, 21 and 5. Now, I will say, this is a guy who I picked up on the free, as we saw, and he's actually playing up front, and he was brought in originally for a midfielder, but if he's scoring goals, mate, I don't care. Play up front, because these two are absolutely lethal together. The bench is actually quite quiet, and once again, the bench is where I need to improve. The idea of this is to essentially eventually sort of turn away all these Stoke City players that clearly can't hack the Premier League, replace them with either young talent or maybe a player that might get into the first team, then one of these players can drop to the bench, and it will strengthen the club either way. We either sign a player for the future or sign a pre-made player and one of these drop down to the bench. Either way, we're going to get rid of the Championship players and bring in at least Premier League quality players, and over this 5-year project, we are going to clear out the entire team and have a squad of just utter future talent and current talent, and hopefully we've got the money to do it. We definitely have. I've got £92 million to spend, a big budget to play with, and I honestly think with that sort of money, we can go in and probably bring in, again, 3 or 4 players. I'm not really too worried about the contract situation, because the players that we sort of need to worry about with contracts aren't going to be coming up because we're signing them. So the Stoke City players that were here, they can happily go now. So I'm not stressed at all. We've got money to play with. Let's just go over now to season 4, because we're actually going to be in the European competition. That is mental. Signing 1, and I know you probably can't believe it, is one hell of an instalment sign, and let me tell you that. The board had to approve of it. Jeremy Doku is going to come in, and he has lit up the league. 26 goals and 6 assists. It didn't work out for him at Man City. Under the Stoke management, he has prevailed, and do you know what? This guy looks absolutely remarkable. He is quick, he's got good dribbling, good finishing, great composure, great bit of flair as well. He honestly is... he is the complete package. He is developed into an absolute monster. It can be said for Andrew coming in here. Now, this is a player who looks ridiculous in terms of attributes. He is quick, he's got great composure, he's got good decision making, good pace, good stamina, good everything really for a centre-back, and hopefully, unlike Mengi, he's got an instant success rate. It's okay. 3 goals, 2 assists, above a 7 match rating. It's not bad. I mean, it's not Van Dijk level, but at the end of the day, it's an investment for the future. He still is only 25, and if we were to sell him now, we probably wouldn't make much of a profit, but if he has a couple more seasons, we can always look then. And lastly is going to be Solomon Bona, coming in from Manchester United. He comes in, for, I'll tell you what, a pretty hefty fee, £39 million. But again, he plays all the games, drops a 6.88. He can't really stat pad because he was getting pulled out of cup games to focus him on in that Premier League, because I will be honest, I did lock him in because he looks absolutely nuts again. Quick, good positioning, crossing's a bit of a weakness of his, but we can work with him on that. The tackling's good, the technique is good as well. Overall, just a very solid player whose value already is worth a lot more compared to what we paid. Now, that is all we can afford, as you can see here. Nothing else on this page at all that we did bring in. But these 3 players alone have strengthened the team. I mean, at the back, right back especially, very strong now. Centre-back wise, an improvement. And as for the wing, we've taken the wingers from here and put them all the way up here now. This level of winger, he can win your trophies. And speaking of trophies, the Conference League final against Girona. Now, I was actually feeling quite confident because we can beat them, and Kesse proves that. We put 1-0 up inside of 38 minutes. They are going to go through and equalise inside of 42 minutes, but Kesse steps up, makes it 2-1 in the 86th, and to wrap up the game, a little set-piece action. We'll take it. We also got all the way to the final of the Carabao Cup, where Brentford, of all teams, beat us 2-1. Not really a massive success story either in the FA Cup, as we are going to lose 3-1 to Newcastle, meaning if we are going to want to get in to the Champions League, at the moment, we are of course in the Europa League because we won a Conference League, but the question is, did we get in the top 4? Yes, we did. So we are going to be in the Champions League. And as you can see right now, we are only 4 points off winning that Premier League title. And Doku's Doku. I mean, 26 goals, the best goal scorer in the Premier League. Doku and Alanga second and third in the average rating. And Dan James joint most assists in the entire Premier League. So you take that, only 6 losses as well. None of them embarrassing really either, apart from maybe West Brom. Apart from that, this is a fantastic season. Top 4, Conference League, a cup final appearance. If you want to say disappointment, it would be against Newcastle here, but I'm not disappointed one bit. That is a very strong season, and I think now our budget is going to be really high because we've done a miracle, and it is looking high. 120 million to take into the next season, and I'll tell you what, this is where we can really attract some big players because we've got Champions League football, and if you play Football Manager back home, you know that is a massive attraction to any player in the world. Now, tactics, we can go and look at the best 11 right now. As you can see, we've changed it a little bit as well. Gone more attacking, changed a couple of the player roles as well. And we look at this now. The new right back, 9 assists. We love to see it. Luke Thomas, 21. He is developing into an absolute monster and thriving in this Stoke City team. 31-17 for Alanga. This is a guy who I signed and was nervous about. Don't know why. You look at him now, he's an absolute baller. He is absolutely quality. What a player he is. We then got to see 5-17 for Baleba. Those assists have gone skyrocketing up. He is developing now into the player we know he can become. Kesse is getting older, but 19-18. Am I going to take him out the team? No shot. The guy's still balling out. 14-28 for Dan James. We like to see it. This man here, 38-9. The guy who, you know, I brought in, as you can see, for a total of 9 million. Look how consistent he has been. He's been such a good player. And Doku, I mean, 47-14. The bench again is silent as we are clearing out the worst players. But I'll be honest with you, boys. This team is absolutely thriving. It is absolutely cooking, and all I'm excited to do now is just bring in new players that can go on the bench and fight for first team football. I think the only player that survived from this start of this video is Gibson. In fact, it is Gibson, who definitely will not be in the team next season. So, do you know what? We're 4 seasons in, we've completely had a wipeout already. We're winning trophies. This rebuild is going very, very well. But of course, the main challenge has not been hit yet, and that is to win the Premier League. Load the next season. Signing 1 is going to be Karim Konate. If you've not used him, you won't know how good he is, but if you haven't signed him, go and do it right now because he's absolutely incredible. And as you can see, a great return there. 20 goals and 4 assists in 31 games. This is a player who can win you a Premier League title. I've signed him before, and he is more than capable of being a Champions League winner, let alone a Premier League winner. This guy can do it all. Now, another player that we got on the free, again, I'm surprised we even got him on the free, to be honest, because he is definitely a first-team goalkeeper. And we now may have the two best goalkeepers in terms of rotation the Premier League has ever seen. We've got Mamardashvili and we've got Restes. It doesn't get much better than that. A player that wasn't on the free but is definitely quality, so I'll happily pay, is going to be Murillo. He is going to come in from Nottingham Forest. Again, an incredibly well-rounded player. He comes in for a total of 21.5 million. He plays a lot of games and he does average, but in a good way. He doesn't exactly stand out, but also I imagine didn't make too many mistakes. I'm just going to pick up Daniel Dagger, a bit of an interesting name as a DLP, one for the future. You look at his value now, 95 million. We paid 15. The guy is an absolute future wonder kid, superstar, Ballon d'Or winner, whatever you want to say. This guy looks incredible. In that DLP, 16 passing, 15 tackling. He's got the pace, he's got the stamina. He is a player who I've left you an absolute gem here. Not enough, I've also brought in more experience. It is going to be João Palhinha. He's going to come in, of course, from Real Madrid for 22 million, and that experience returned us quite a solid Premier League performance. And do you know what? Yes, he's 33, but at the end of the day, with them attributes, it offers a lot. And I'm thinking also for the experience. The Champions League games, the extra fixtures, the legs start hurting with the youngsters, bit of inexperience. You need that player who can step in and guide a team. And he's been everywhere. Another player who has bounced about a lot with clubs, really, is Justin Kluivert. Now, I brought him in purely as backup, and for the fact he was 11 million, and for the fact that our team was literally losing players for fun. He come in and actually played a lot of games, which I wasn't expecting. He done okay as well. He was purely brought in for backup. As you can see, we paid 11 million. He's now valued at 48. That's an easy flip. If you want to make some money, there you go. That's a free 40 million. And another player, Julio Enciso, is going to come in from Brighton. He was not developing that well. Some pretty poor season. I picked him up for 3.9 million. He comes to us. He plays very well. 14 goals, 7 assists, and now valued at 52 to 58 million. If you're carrying on this rebuild, you've got some serious money to play with if you cash in. But of course, for us, we're not looking at it like that. That is all the business we done. You can see the players we lost. The more important thing, the players we gained. That is going to be how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players were brought in. Not all first team players, but definitely players for the future. And I tell you what, I think we can have a real title charge now. Let's go in to what is going to be Season 5 of the Premier League. But before we do that, we'll talk about the Carabao Cup. We are going to go out, unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately, against Crystal Palace in the semis. And I tell you what, we would have met Brighton in the final, which I think we could have beat. Another semi-final exit is going to be in the FA Cup against Arsenal. And once again, I tell you what, we would have faced up against Nottingham Forest in the final. We would have won that game as well. And the Champions League, I don't hate it. We got knocked out in the round of 16, as you can see. Only on penalties, by the way, against Juventus. In terms of the knockoff playoff round, we weren't even in it, so we must have done quite well in the league phase. Can we actually go and see? We done very well. We only lost 3 games against Atletico Madrid, Barca and Celtic. We actually go on to beat Bayern, Monaco. I mean, we've done very well there. I'll take that. But the main thing here, boys and girls, is the Premier League. We've not completed the challenge, but I don't want to end the video, so I'm going to allow myself one more season. I know it's against the rules, but rules are meant to be bent sometimes, and I can see it in the comments now. If I don't win the Premier League, it will annoy some people, and also I want to try and do it. I've loved this rebuild so far. We've got such a good team, and I just think we literally need one more season to just fill in a few more places. I mean, we're a point off winning it, guys. We are 1 point off winning the Premier League. And as you can see here, we matched up against some pretty big teams towards the end. So I am going to give it one more season, and I just hope we can get it done. So yeah, that's all I can say, really. Disappointed we've not done it in 5, but I can't end this video before I win it, because we've put so much time, brought in so many good players, and we are winning trophies. It's just this one is the main attraction. And for this next window, we have got a lot of money as well. 135 million. I'm not going to focus too much on the player stats this year because it's not really worth it. What I have done is change the tactics, so that's what we're going to talk about. I've gone in now with a 4-2-4. We are going into this last season with nothing to lose. We want to win the Premier League. I think I may have been playing a bit reserved. We've been bringing in these luxury players and maybe not letting them have the creative freedom they need. Well, the next season, they're going to have that, because we are going positive, higher line, 4-2-4, wingers create, advanced forward score, the wingbacks can go forward. We are playing like a prime Jurgen Klopp team. Heavy metal football. Let's get into the last season. I tell you what, I've sort of made the call, although he wanted to leave as well. Julio Enciso is going to go to Tottenham, and do you know what? Look at this for business. That is a profit. I mean, the profit is unbelievable. That will pay for one of our players alone. That is absolutely incredible. What a bit of business. Goodbye. Winning one is going to be a backup left back. Nothing too exciting. It's going to be David Jurasek coming in from VTSC. He comes in for £19 million and he actually plays a lot of games considering he was a backup left back. He has come in and sort of butchered his way into the first team, and I look at his attributes. He is actually a very good left back, so fair play. Player who won't have to fight for a first team spot is going to be Scalvini. He comes in from Atalanta, and as you can see, £74 million. He plays 12 games, and I do think there was an injury, so I'm hoping. Oh, we've had a stinker, haven't we? I'm regretting it. I think something's gone wrong with him. I can picture an injury. I'm feeling an injury. There is no way he does not get into the first team. He looks incredible. Might have been because of this, because when you see Mohamed Simakan on the free, you pick him up. Despite the age, on the free, he plays almost every game in the Prem, that is. 6.98, and I tell you what, this might be the reason Simakan didn't play a lot of games, because he is better on paper, and I tell you what, he can win you a Premier League. He's been at the Saudi League for a long time. He needs competition back. I'll give him that. Now, we also are going to sign Orkun Koshu, another player in midfield, can play deep, can play centrally, and of course attacking. He comes in, the 29-year-old, and he plays not that many games either, but a goal and an assist, it's something, I suppose. Added in just for depth. He's never really going to start over Kesse or Baleba, but a player who can come in and, of course, fulfill some sort of injury problem or rotation, whatever it is. And as you can see, that is all she wrote in terms of transfers. So 4 new players. We've lost a couple of players as well. A great bit of business there once again, but this is our last chance to win that Premier League, and we want to go and find out, don't we? Let's just go and do it right now. That's what we've done. I knew we were so close to doing it. It was a very close season when Newcastle finished second and Palace also finished in third place. What team have they got? They've got Michael Carrick in charge, and they have got a team, fair play. Diallo, Eze, Somerville, Wharton, Decore, Riyad, Lacroix. That's a very, very good team. Palace aside, Newcastle, what have they cooked up? They've got Sebastian Honnet in charge, and they have got a team of Isaac, Gabriel Meck. Oh, what a legend. Simmons, Bargi, Mainu, Tonali. They have cooked up a wonder. I mean, they've cooked up an absolute storm. But we have won the league. Kanate, the top goal scorer, the best player, and Doku with the most assists. And for the first time in 6 years, we've got the most clean sheets. It is going to be none other than Rested. So clearly an improvement on the goalkeeper as well. But I'm going to leave a little bit of a spoiler. It's not the only thing we won. That is right, we get to the Champions League final. We match up against Bayern, who were not having a great season, but they did start the game very well, going 1-0 up. And I tell you what, we bounced back literally 2 minutes after, and I mean literally 2 minutes after, with Alanga to make it 1-1. And at this point, I was quite nervous because Bayern were having endless chances 20 minutes on, and they actually go 2-1 up. But this is where Stoke City, they just become a different team. I mean, Doku goes through an own goal to get us back into the game. That might be a little bit cheesy, but from this point onwards, look at how we are playing. The confidence, and that's why you sign older players, by the way. Paulina there with a goal. Kanate goes through, goes alone, makes it 4-2, and we win the Champions League final 5-2 over Bayern. Apart from that, nothing else, but I'm not going to say apart from that because we've won the Prem and the Champions League in one season with Stoke City, so we have done very well. And if we go over to this club info right now, I can guarantee you one thing: the reputation is through the roof. The finances, of course, will look after themselves, but the overview, look how nice that is. 1 Champions League, 1 Premier League, 1 Europa Conference Cup League, whatever that is, or not whatever it is, but however you say it, another Carabao Cup. The only thing we failed to win was that FA Cup and the Community Shield, the Super Cup, but realistically, who cares? A Premier League, a Champions League, the finances are going to be looking incredibly healthy, £153 million. So if you do want to carry on this rebuild, you know where to go, to the Patreon. You also are going to go over and get this tactic as well, this amazing 4-2-4, which clearly works very well to win everything we've done with Stoke City in that final season. And just look at the stats. Take a second to feast your eyes on it. I mean, 42 from Kanate, 29 from Doku, 13 and 19 for Kluivert, Alanga 24 and 20, 6 and 10, 11 and 6. The bench also now offering something as well. If you're thinking, Josh, there's a few older players in the team, what am I going to do? You've got 153 million. So my advice is for those that are going to carry on this save file, sign some younger players, prepare for the future. But this team here, you've got another year minimum in terms of that can go again. You've been left with a very good team and a team now that is ready to go for, well, go for a treble. Try and outdo me. Go for a treble, go for a quadruple. I think this team could win a treble with the right signings. One more year. It's a very exciting project, and hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, you can comment below any team you want to see next, because I love doing the teams you support. I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.